Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And I rise to speak in support of the Safe Food Victoria Bill of 2026. And this is a bill, of course, that will establish a new consolidated food regulator, Safe Food Victoria. These reforms will support and enable the continued protection of public health, a collaborative approach to achieving food safety outcomes with industry while streamlining and simplifying our food safety and regulatory systems for business, consumers and the community alike. And, Deputy Speaker, these reforms are important because it's ongoing access to safe, fresh and affordable food that is essential to nourishing every household and person across our community, and because our agriculture and food processing and hospitality sectors are economic and employment drivers to Victoria and all of our communities. So ensuring safe growing, processing and consumption of food will always remain an ongoing priority for the Victorian Government and the Victorian Parliament. And, Deputy Speaker, Victoria's agriculture economic contribution continues to become more interlinked with our socio-economic prosperity. As of June 2024, $20.2 billion worth of value in our agricultural production. That's up 15%. $19.6 billion is the value of total food and fibre exports, up 7.4%. 21,300 agriculture and farm businesses are in the state, which has remained stable. 68,870 jobs are associated with agriculture. That's up 3.3%. And Victoria, by volume, remains Australia's #1 producer in Australia of table and dried grapes. We produce 78% of national production, milk 64% of national production, sheep meat 46% of national production, food and nuts is 33% of national production, and vegetables 25% of national production, Deputy Speaker. And by value, Victoria is Australia's #1 food and fibre exporter on dairy products. 73% of Australia's dairy exports come from Victoria. Skin and hides are 47%, animal fibre 46%, horticulture produce equates to 45%, and total food and fibre exports are 24% of national exports. And, Deputy Speaker, across our food and beverage manufacturing industry, 84,970 jobs are associated. That's equating to 74,400 in food manufacturing and 10,510 in beverage manufacturing. And so when combined, the total jobs across agricultural production, food, beverage, growing and processing manufacturing sectors are 153,840 jobs. Melbourne is widely regarded as one of the world's great food cities because it combines extraordinary cultural diversity, creativity and quality in a way that few places can match. Across the city, you can experience authentic cuisines from every corner of the globe, from Italian and Greek to Vietnamese, Lebanese, Ethiopian, Turkish and so much more, all shaped by generations of migrants that help define Melbourne's identity. What sets Melbourne apart is not just the variety, but the standards. The cafe culture is world-class, with a deep focus on specialty coffee, fresh local produce and thoughtful seasonal nuts. Whether it's simple brunch or a fine dining experience, there's a strong emphasis on quality, innovation and consistency. Melbourne's laneways and neighbourhood strips also play a massive role in offering hidden gems, family-run eateries and cutting-edge restaurants side by side. Chefs are known for pushing boundaries while still respecting tradition, creating a food scene that is both authentic and constantly evolving. Put simply, Melbourne's food culture is about more than just eating. It's about community, creativity, connection. It goes to the very essence of what Melbourne is about, and that's what makes our restaurants and cafes some of the best in the world. And this bill is all about ensuring we continue to strengthen food safety standards, to protect industry standards and public health. The way that food safety regulatory system is structured currently is very complex, with 4 Victorian Acts and 2 responsible ministers. The system is currently regulated by the Department of Health, Department of Energy, Environment, Climate Action, Dairy Food Safety, Victoria Prime Safe and 79 local councils, including mine of Merribeck. The first stage of reform implemented by this legislation is focused on entity reform, bringing together Prime Safe and Dairy Food Safety Victoria, 2 regulators with similar remits, as well as some departmental food safety regulatory functions, into a new central food safety agency. Safe Food Victoria will enable more efficient regulation, better incident management, a paddock-to-plate approach to food safety that is better aligned with risk and clearer food safety leadership, including within Victoria as part of Australia and New Zealand's binational food regulatory for our most important export markets. And the purpose of the bill, as I said, is to establish Food Safety Victoria to provide it to perform the functions in regulating the Victorian food industry, to abolish Dairy Food Safety Victoria and Prime Safe, and make consequential and related amendments to the Dairy Act, Food Act, Meat Industry Act, Seafood Act and certain other acts. A consolidated regulator can deliver benefits for businesses and consumers while protecting public health. It will reduce the need for businesses to engage with multiple regulators and reduce compliance costs. Once Food Safe Victoria is established, a further series of reforms in a second stage will be brought before the Parliament in the next term. This will further consolidate existing food safety legislation, modernising the licensing, compliance and enforcement laws, The second stage of reforms will also consider new cost recovery arrangements and the role of local councils in regulating food safety. While we expect some regulatory benefits in this first stage of reform, this legislation will largely set the foundations for more explicit benefits as part of stage 2. Reforms have been supported by an extensive engagement and consultation process over the last year, involving more than 60 individual engagements with stakeholders and interest groups, and this has culminated in an engaged Victoria process of September-October 2025. More than 120 unique submissions were received with an overwhelming 91% support, and I commend the Minister for Agriculture as well, who's at the table, for her work and leadership in bringing this bill to the chamber as well. And Deputy Speaker, across my community, the value of agriculture, food processing and consumption continues to remain critically important. 5,200 jobs associated with retail, many cafes and restaurants and hospitality, 10% of local jobs. 4,200 jobs associated with accommodation and food services, that's 8% of local jobs. 3,800 local jobs are associated with manufacturing sector, that's 7.3% of local jobs, and almost 100 jobs associated with the agriculture in my community, that's 0.2% of jobs. We're not the agricultural heartland that we used to be in Coburg and Pascoe Vale. We were once upon a time during early settlement days, but that baton is very much passed over to Shepparton and other areas these days as well. In terms of businesses, 63 businesses associated with agriculture, 0.4%, 471 businesses associated with manufacturing, 2.8%, 1,100 businesses associated with retail, 6.9%, and 870 businesses associated with accommodation and food services, it's 5.2%. And Deputy Speaker, across my community we have many fantastic local food offerings and cafes. Elios Cafe, di Elios Panini Bar and Cafe. It was un gran piacere to have visitato e mangiato with the Victorian Minister for Small Business and Employment, Minister Suleiman, previously, catching up with the owner, and our best local, one of our newest local and best panini maestros, Peter De Marco. It was bellissimo to have been served up some of the freshest, most authentic paninis and focaccias in town. And for me, I can't go past the mortadella special, Deputy Speaker. Named after Peter's son, Elios, this proud Calabrese-inspired cafe is a labour of love, blending family tradition, homemade sugo and the most authentic and freshest ingredients into every panino e focaccia. Opened in November 2024, Elios has quickly become a local favourite, built on passion and deep connection in our community, and you can check it out at 68 Newlands Road in Coburg North, with an extensive family history and background, having grown up in hospitality. You can just see his family wall when you go up and have a panino there. They've come from Adelaide to Coburg North, and he's got a great Calabrese heritage, and he's got you covered for breakfast, pranzo, colazione, breakfast, pranzo, lunch, e tutt'altro, everything else in between. Growing up in West Coburg myself, on Jamison Street, Deputy Speaker, we had the Progress Theatre, which was on Reynard Street, which we spent a lot of time at. But on the corner of Jamison and Reynard Street for many years was a pizza institution. It was originally Charlie Folletti's Pizza, then Joe's Pizza for nearly 30 years. And more recently, it's now Ralphie's Pizza. John Spataro runs his family pizza business, now Ralphie's Pizza, at this location. His John and his brothers Carmelo, Vincenzo, and nephews Rob, Joe, Anthony, two nephews, both named Nicholas, and son Antonio, took it up after their working hours. They would go to the shop and work harder to renovate it to make it what it is today, a fantastic, welcoming Italian pizza place where customers are warmly welcomed to enjoy their food. They got the keys on the 17th of April 2024, and it took them 6 months to complete the renovations. It was officially opened in November 24, and the family pizza business hasn't looked back since. John, his son Antonio, and his wife Lena run the pizza business, and Lena's particular emphasis on food safety regulations is impeccable, and I can attest that firsthand, and they work hard to provide pizza and food for customer satisfaction. John's been overwhelmed by the local community support and how the business has grown with the support of local families, children, including those of Coburg West and St Fidelis, making it their regular eatery. And the best thing about it all, says John, is that he feels it's in memory and honour of his father, Nicola, a pioneer Italian immigrant who came here and worked very hard, and love for his family and love for good food as well. And his family origins are from Varapordio in Calabria, not far from where my families are as well. Just further east down Reynard Street, we also have another wonderful family food outlet with a proud family community history. Two Franks is a gorgeous new local cafe nestled in the back streets of West Coburg, operated by sisters Angie and Chrissy, who, like yours truly, also grew up in that neighbourhood. And Angie and Chrissy actually grew up right across the road from where their shopfront is today. And drawing on the suburb's multicultural history, Two Franks is the beginning of a new chapter where locals are gathering to meet, share, in their love of soul-filled food and hospitality and excellent coffee. But the question is, Deputy Speaker, why the name Two Franks? It's because the shop at 202 Reynard Street was previously a butcher for many years whose name was Frank. And 16 years ago, Frank hung up his blades and handed the keys over to another butcher whose name was Frank as well. So it was Two Franks. It was Two Franks. That's why the cafe is called Two Franks, Deputy Speaker. Look, we have so many other great cafes across my community. There's Jack and Daisy's, where Eugene does a great job. There's Carson's Cafe as well, with Bardi, who does a magnificent job. And I commend this bill as someone who worked in hospitality growing up, working in Carlton and Lygon Street over many of my formative high school and university years, where there's still great food, great coffee in the northern suburbs.